it? Yes, we do the same. We have the right audience. And along with that, we give the best client servicing as well. We ensure that any problem, any issues, any creative changes that's required, we have a 24/7 client servicing team who would help you in doing those changes. Our platform, starting with awareness, wherein we talk about video, OTT. I've already mentioned that we are there with the OTT channels. Programmatic videos. Yes, we can do a 10-second, 20-second, 30-second video. And having said that, if you have a 45-second video, please share with us. We will do our best to run that as well. TV Sync is something that I spoke that how can we leverage our TV campaign to the digital campaign, which Aniket will take over and explain in next. Aniket, over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Aniket Pawar and I head sales for Hybrid. I'm Aniket Pawar and I head sales for Hybrid. We wanted to specifically talk about TV Sync, and that's one of the technologies that we feel is very relevant to get brands who are very specifically using traditional mediums like television to convey a message. Using TV Sync, what we actually achieve is an incremental reach. Users who have been watching your television ads can be reached using this technology. We can actually reach out to the cord cutters as well. TV Sync specifically does one job really well, is trigger your campaigns when your ad goes live on television. So there are two scenarios here. One is when your own television campaign goes live on air, and second is when your competition ad goes live. So both these scenarios actually achieve a different marketing objective. In the first one, you're actually doing, an increase in frequency, and the second, you're trying to highlight a conversation which your competitor is trying to convey on digital mediums, on television specifically. Vox. Now, I'll, I want a little introduction to Vox to be given by Gandhar. Then I'll probably
Yes, we've spoken a lot about awareness, the video stack that we have. We spoke about OTT, TV Sync, and we've also spoken about our programmatic videos. Now it's time to speak about our contextual suite, which we've been waiting about. It's one of our hero products that we talk about, and we've named it Vox. And let's talk about that, how it can help you all marketers. What is computer vision? What is semantica? What is in-app scoring? Is something that we do, and we get into that. Again,
Vox is actually our heroes in vision. We talk about Vox in length, and that's what we intend to do in this section as well. Now, advertisers face this challenge of ad relevancy, and this particular solution actually gives you a great advantage when it comes to bringing more ad relevancy to your campaign. Now, when we talk about contextual targeting, it's generally considered to be keyword targeting. That's not all contextual targeting is. Contextual targeting actually, when it comes to Vox, we have something called as computer vision, which not only analyzes texts but also images. Yes, images, and we're not talking about just the metadata of the images. We're talking about scanning actual image that a publisher uploads on this specific website. We're talking about Semantica 360, which not only analyzes text and images, but the entire content in a very holistic manner. And in-app scoring. Now, since we also are now currently venturing into the app domain as well, we have a system where we can actually place your ads inside an application in a same contextually relevant domain. I have a small video which will help you understand the solution a little better. I have the volume. Is this full screen?
Video please.
Advertisers facing really challenging times. Users are currently overloaded with the amount of information they are browsing that they simply don't see ads. Are you looking for effective ways to win users' attention? Let Box help. Our platform is based on contextual targeting across various inventory, using AI-based stack of technologies, computer vision, Semantica 360, and SmartScore. AI helps to analyze mobile apps that recognize 15K plus types of objects in graphics, text, and videos, making contextual targeting more efficient than ever. Box offers a multi-format approach, including an image-rich media, custom mobile formats, along with standard banners, video, and native ads. Predictive analytics approach using format allocation maximizes powerful impact of ads and creates memorable experience. Relevancy, engagement, safety. Leverage the benefits of AI-driven contextual targeting and catch customers' attention. Box, powered by AI, guided by humans.
Yes, powered by AI and by human. One question that I have is that we've been talking about Semantica. So anyone who can just guide me that what Semantica would be, if you have an idea of this. Anyone on the floor?
Kind of mapping,
Sorry?
some kind of mapping.
So talking in blend, just taking 30 seconds of your time. So when we talk of Semantica, yes, we talk of contextual marketing where we do keyword targeting and everything. So this is one added layer of contextual targeting where we just not look at the keywords, we look at the complete article, we look at the image as well, and we target the right set of audience, which is right set of article required. We ensure that we just don't do a standard keyword target. So there's a layer that we've added on to it. And yes, the innovative solutions that we have, the rich medias, within the image advertising is something that we do, is something that we call off the back. But again, over to you. Sorry for taking it up.
So, thank you, Gandharv. Actually, that's a valid point. And I think you touched upon a very interesting topic about rich media. So, when we talk about Vox, it's not your regular standard banners that we specifically deploy. It's a combination of standard banners as well as rich media in image banners, which actually help us in optimizing the campaign better and also reaching out to publishers in a much better manner. Now, I'll just give you some examples of the comparisons that generally people draw when it comes to Vox and other marketing, other contextual targeting platforms. As I mentioned earlier, keyword targeting is what is generally associated with contextual targeting. And there are some generic contextual targeting platforms which offer only keyword targeting and probably say that it is a solution for contextual targeting, but there are so many things that we ensure that we do to make this a successful solution when it comes to context. Image targeting, very important because a context is better understood by an image. Consider, text saying something like having a keyword like an apple or even salsa. Both these keywords specifically can derive to three different things. An apple can actually be the fruit apple, or it can actually be the brand apple. Salsa can actually be an ingredient and also transform. So only contextual targeting and understanding text will not help. We have to understand images. That will give us a holistic picture of what the article is all about. Video analysis is where now this is again when we say image recognition or image targeting, video analysis is as good as I would say image analysis. Video is multiple frames of images, and my system basically has the capabilities to understand a video in depth. URL, metadata, inline, in-app real-time scoring, and all content recognition and categorization. All of this is possible, and we kind of check all the tick boxes when it comes to this particular Vox solution. There's some examples of some creative examples from the Bfsi industry. Probably the most important question is at kahan dikhega today. A lot of people are laughing when I say that. Over the years, so we have completed more than 3 years in India, and over these 3 years, what we've done is we've approached all these premium publishers one by one, integrated our codes on their platform, tested, tested all these creators, and ensured that they work, load well, register impressions are viewable, all of this. Uh, we've got more than 150 publishers. These are just 9 of them that are randomly listed.
So just naming a few like Times of India, AVP. It's not that yes, we do it for ESP, but we are linked with all these publishers, and our ads have already been approved by the editorial teams, and they're happy to run our ads on their editorial images as well. That's something that we're doing it just like a programmatic platform and all. We do it. Everything has been approved, and all these publishers are working with us. A few of the bigger names that we talked about. If I talk of smaller names, I would say we also work with Pink Villa, category. We also work with the team. Can you name a few publishers for me?
So we have IDEA, Pink Villa. I would say if you want to target female audiences, but when it comes to publishers and news and finance, we've got a plethora of them. I mean, money control. We can actually target ads on multiple finance websites. We can target ads on news websites, right from Indian Express, Financial Express, all of that. We have a list of these 150 publishers that we can send across the but more important, I mean, moving on to probably the most important slide in this presentation, and that's brand safety. We are 100% brand safe, and we say this with 100% assurance as well. Because we actually have multiple parameters that help in brand safety. When it comes to this particular solution, AI itself has the capabilities of understanding what content article has negative connotations and what has positive. We're also talking about the list of keywords that we use. We ensure that we remove all the negative keywords and your ads are placed on the most positive and relevant articles out there. There's one more way to actually go ahead and segregate, brand safe articles is by ensuring a controlled. Right. We have a list of 150 websites in case if you feel any of these or some of these websites did not work for you as a brand. We are more than happy to kind of eliminate those websites. It's also pretty interesting. Because a lot of brands, a lot of global brands that we work with do not work with news websites, and that's pretty common these days. We have capabilities in case if you do not work with news website, we have to put our options for you as well.
So we always ensure that when it comes to a brand name environment, if there are some keywords or some news where you would not like to be present, we will ensure that your brand is not present. And we have our internal tool. The clients come to us that say that we want Kantar and all. So yes, we are getting ourselves as battery with Kantar as well. So we will be a part of Kantar also. Case studies. Coming on to our BFSI case studies, we've been working with a lot of brands. There are a lot of existing brands I'm sure sitting over here. So let's talk about that, how we perform, what we've done in the industry, and where we are. DSP Mutual Fund, you can look at the impression, the CTRs at 1.2% is the CTR that we deliver. And our ad formats, we did Stripe, we did Flip, Flickr, these all are innovative ad units that we do within the image that we work on. Websites, few of them, One India, Good Returns, Garmin.com, these are the websites we selected by the client and we can connect.
The interesting part about this campaign is also the targeting parameters. I'll just quickly touch on that and we not have too much on the video case study. Uh, since the cricket season is on and that time we were having the big World Cup and we wanted to target people who are reading articles related to the cricket World Cup. Because the creator was this year you're watching cricket from your home televisions. 4 years later, West into where you can probably go to the stadium and watch it. So that was the creator. Another very interesting campaign that we've done for Motila Loswal, where we actually targeted specific articles related to stockbroking, investment banking, mutual funds. Now these are very specific. If you directly buy inventory through maybe still publisher, you will not be able to get such kind of targeting parameters. You might place your ad in a certain section, but be sure that your ads are very relevant to the article that you use. That's what we did. I hope I'm audible. I generally tend to kind of go low on my voice. So again, if you see the numbers support what we claim. We get a CTR of point plus
So we
1%
can
plus.
actually commit that our CPRs are about 1%. And the kind of ad formats, the kind of publishers that we're running on, the kind of inventory that we have in the brand safe environment, we give you the best CTRs and we ensure that CTR, VTR percentage, whatever is required as per the needs are being maintained by us. Consideration. So we just started to decode our approach, wherein we said awareness. We said awareness, we've done video 360, we've done OTT, programmatic, we've also done our contextual suite, which I'm sure over the drinks and for a bar, every one of you has one discussion on that. Coming on to our consideration part, wherein, as I mentioned in the beginning, there are two solutions that we've launched in India. They're very interesting for the category that you all represent. One is our triggers and one is our bases. So Aniket would do a deep dive and again a deep dive, and we'll not take too much time of yours, I'm sure. We will leave closer to sorry not getting bored with it, but just a quick question, guys. How many of you actually invest in mutual fund in stock market? Can I have some hands? One guy we have decided. Okay. On the other side also.
I didn't see any hands first. So great. I think it's almost 80% of the audience. Question to you is, when is the right time to invest in, say, mutual funds? When is the best time to invest in any mutual fund? You can even Google actually, and Santal, if you can probably.
I'm sure these folks.
Anyone wants to answer? When is the best time to invest in mutual fund?
Anytime is the best.
Anytime is the best. That's one response. What's the best time to invest in mutual funds?
I think the best time is
Around 10 years back, I invested in these funds.
SIP.
Do you want to share your experience?
I think I somebody just mentioned anytime do well.
Okay.
So I got this answer.
Okay. So basically,
Only if you can predict when the market is going down, maybe.
yeah. Sorry,
Sure. Going for a short term person, then probably after the term, which otherwise destroyed as early as possible. So it was first job.
Personal investment plans, please connect to this channel.
great. So the reason I'm asking this question is because we've got a solution where a mutual fund company can actually go ahead, or any company who wants to probably track the stock market or any of these metrics that can be illustrated in the top three pointers. You can actually do that and incorporate the same in your creatives. Now just imagine a mutual fund brand, and I keep on talking about mutual fund brand, it's just an example, not to bias towards it. But just imagine a creator that you see has information about the markets are down today, great time to invest in an XYZ mutual fund. You'll be more pro towards doing that is because now you've not only informed but also educated the end user about the current situation. So what we've done here is Hybrid as an organization, we keep on developing a lot of these very customized solutions for our clients. One of our clients has requested if we can probably look at creating a solution where we can in real time track what's happening in the stock market. Any indexes, we can now go ahead and track and show a real time result on your creatives, urging your audience to buy. So that's what we have as an option. Apart from that, crypto and exchange rates as well. So that's something that has been done. It's pretty recent and pretty recent development. And yeah, we wanted to touch upon the same. Hyperplaces, another pretty interesting solution. Now, hyperlocal is one of the options. It's actually divided into two. Hyperlocal is one of the options, which I'm sure everyone knows what hyperlocal is. You give me a lat long, I place it in my system, and we do a radius targeting. Yes, all of that is possible. Our competition also does that. We do it very precisely though. But the USP here is the category targeting. If you see this particular slide, you'll be able to see the list of categories, a short list of categories that we can actually target. So if you're a brand and if you want to target any specific locations as a category, like for example, in India, if you want to target airports, all shopping malls, or only shopping malls in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, shopping malls, maybe, or any marketplace, or even you've done Khowgali targeting, food, street foods, and things like that. That's possible because you now don't have to do all the groundwork, giving me long towards your adaptation experience might be a little happy. You can actually target these locations directly without you giving us those locations. These are pre-fed in our systems. The moment we say that these categories are to be targeted, we go ahead and add it and we start running campaigns. That's how it's done.
So with hybrid, we can run after people and tell them that at the airport there's a scam going on, there's card available, something or somewhere. Yes, hybrid can help with every solution.
These are some examples. I'll just give you a fair understanding of the creators. The first creator is where we are actually using APIs for weather, not relevant to you, but something interesting in the second and third one. We can actually have these, if you see this part, we have locations. Now, when the creator is served to a user, any one of them, you are at your home, in your office, you will actually be tracked, not exactly be tracked, but in terms of you as a user can now see which retail shop, which bank is closest to you. And it's a list of 4 or 5 from closest to furthest. You can actually click on that and you'll be redirected to maybe a landing page or even the map for that particular retail stores. That's possible using this particular. Pretty interesting again, it's being deployed by multiple brands, including the ones that you're seeing here. Track the results.
Track the results at the end, not taking too much time. The clients who want to do a branded study, yes, we can do a branded study as per the needs, requirements, up to 250 questions that we can do, go and post, and we will share the results with you as well. So I guess these are some industry clients that we work with. For mutual, UPI, Undra, Bfsi. We are here to add more to this next year when we be with our Bfsi.
I mean, again, just adding to what Gandharv said about brand, it definitely helps the brand in understanding the uplift that we as a solution bring on the table. And that's what we do using Brander. We found the brand that we've been working with, and most of them are here in the panel discussions and in the audience again. We'll be more than happy to take any questions related to your, related to the solution that we have, even in general.
So we've done the awareness part, we've done the media reach and everything, we've done the consideration, and we've engagement. Now, yes, we're looking to engage with all 3 questions, anything that you understand. And there, Aniket is here, the whole hybrid team is present over here. Feel free to connect with us at any point in time. Having said that, at this point, anyone has any questions, please. I believe we'll have an question. We have, no, the interacting. Thank you so much, guys.
Pleasure to have you all. Actually, I'm just feeling so happy to see everyone, all the seats filled, and this is actually our first event in India. Meet everyone, each and every one of you to take the discussion forward.
I
Thank you
guess
so
let's
much.
start with the. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gandhar. Thank you, Jana. And thank you, Aniket. Well, I compare gifts. Wow. All right. So, firstly, the first award goes to this gentleman who won the first round, who was able to escape his finger, but not was able. He's like surprised. Oh my God. These gifts are also up for grabs. So, here comes two interesting questions from the presentation. Firstly, Gandharv and Aniket, thank you for walking us through
Positions and properties that you have. It was interesting to learn about brand safety. It was interesting to learn about contextual advertisements and really geo-specific. I've got two rewards over here as well. And it's very simple. So goes to the first person who like just gives the answer very quickly. All right. But should we like, just hear after you like have the hand coming up first? Like how do you like what would you like to do? Hand raise first. All right. So no, right now, you've been trained and you've been like daily those for you. So when video over 2 in the night is like you should like I don't have to do this. Yeah. So we'll have it with the guests who have come over here. So they've made this evening for the special. So the first question is what's the what are the first person who raised the hand? Okay. So what's the number of publisher that Hybrid is signed up with to publish the ads? All right, I see that lady has raised her hand. Was hopefully the answer is correct. Yeah. Let's go and understand it from her. Yes, please tell me. All right, she got me to printed it. They will need some of the printed partners as well. MP, HT, yeah, I think no, I think I'm beating a female like rocks. But congratulations, what's a good name? Rashi, okay. He's like, I raised my hand, but he did not come to me. Why should I take him? All right, nobody will go to the next question as well. So this question, the question that I have for you is, okay, what's the name of the what's the name? What's the things that actually say? If you go to recap of those presentation, might be thought the hand. What's the name from the wow. She was going to raise her hand. Let's go and listen to proper. Yes, sir. For music, something music. For so active. Folks, when it's time for a little bit of laughter, there's when participate in any fun, simple engagement activity. And this activity you can play either in a group of 2 or 3. Okay, you can just identify your elbow partner who you like to play this activity. Just do a handshake with that person so that you know that you're playing this together. It could be in a group of 2 or it could be in a group of 3. Can we have them quickly handshakes with that? All right, so we have the group of 3 over here. We have the group of 2 over here. We have the group of 2. We have the group of 2. Fantastic. Now, I want people to identify an object with which we play the activity. It could be a mobile phone. It could be a pencil. Just identify that and have the consensus among yourself. Right? So identify the object. Which object that you play. Mobile phone or just one. We only one object. All right. So let's say we have a pencil or the mobile phone. Fantastic. Now, what I want you to do is keep that object equidistant among the two of you. For example, if these 3 gentlemen are playing, okay, keep the pencil over there somewhere in the center so that it's easily accessible by the 3 of you. Yes, you can keep the mobile phone probably down over there. Yes, you can keep the mobile phone down. Yeah, it should be easily accessible, right? What
definitely closer to him. Yeah. Now you don't have to connect to it. Looks. All right. So now what we have to do is I'll give you a prompt. Okay. If I give you the prompt as heads, you keep your hands on your heads. If I say shoulder, you keep it on the shoulder. All right. As soon as I say object, you have to quickly go and grab that object. All right. It's very simple. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. Heads. Fantastic. Shoulder. Both hands. Heads. Shoulders, heads, shoulder, heads, shoulder, heads, object. All right. Well, if you look around, almost all of you are smiling, irrespective of whether you won or lost that particular part. Well, there's a lot of fun in simply participation. So, with that note, let me move on towards the next topic for today. And folks, you would know this part people who know this part that being in the BFSI marketing space, you know it very well that this space comes up with its own set of challenges from data privacy to complying with regulatory requirements to actually meeting and exceeding customer expectations. This is a tough and complex space. And as whenever you see an ad and it looks wonderful, and immediately after that the line will come. Sure, this is subject to marketing. Because that's the world that we operate in, and that's also required by the law and beneficial for their customers as well, to quite some extent. So, with that note, we want to kickstart the next session on the topic of innovative marketing strategies for financial products. I request the panelists and the moderator to step forward. So, probably we can have the slide as well, inviting the panelists and the moderator as well. So, to moderate the session, we have got Meghna Chetri. Let's give a round of applause to Meghna. She is Chief Manager with ICICI. Thank you, Meghna, for being here. Request Anand. Yeah, Anand, you can step forward. Mihir Mehta, Managing Director of Owen Owen, and Managing Partner Owen Owen. Rian Rodriguez, Senior Vice President, Digital Business and Marketing at AIG. And finally, Solomon Sharma, Alberio, Associate Director, Western South. Meghna, overview of it.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up here on Friday evening. So very sweet. Because it's talking about the website and motivating it, not talking about the category of quality outside and look at what happens the FSI and of course the insurance segment itself with Ryan here. So I think the very interesting innovation within BFSI on it's like have we come out with dynamic campaigns which are innovative, which are experiential, which are also not offensive, which are also relevant. So before we get into the topic and get into all the conversation,
So I would say it's about looking the same videos. And to achieve the goal or to create impact and so on and so forth. But essentially, you're using the same area.
I think for me, from a very publisher perspective, if I really have to throw some light, I feel where there is a need, there is a rise of an opportunity, and there comes, innovation. Where we all are standing today, trying to grab from that little pie. I think that's where this whole rise of ad tech space and decoding as much as three funnels put together has taken a very prominent space.
If I may add, in a very complicated world of BFSI in a country where penetration of most BFSI products is so low, sometimes I think simplicity.
I think that's exactly what I was going to say. Simplification is what innovation is. Great. So diving into the first question, and Mihir, I'll come to you. In a category which is so cluttered and which is cluttered in the sense of competition, in the sense of regulations, obligations, eligibility, anything and everything, right? How has your experience been working with multiple BFSI segments, multiple banks, multiple insurance companies, multiple mutual funds as a part of your career? How do you think working through innovations and experiences, is it difficult? Is it easy? Is it not possible?
See, I think innovation, we think of it from a very myopic view. What I feel is it's not about innovating to reach, to show it to somebody. It's about innovating to reach to a certain goal. I feel BFSI as a category, there's a lot of, it's not that it's a very, it's a regulated category, but then in the regulations, in the bounds also, you can do a lot. There is personal loan as a category. If you see this time, it's very difficult to sell a personal loan. But now with 5-minute loan or 3-minute instant loan, people have innovated in the category. So from a product point of view, there is a lot of innovation happening. Similarly, if the product is strong, promote it also becomes easy. To promote it also quite easy. Second, I think it's all about your perception, what you want to achieve out of the entire goal. So if you want to drive sales, so innovation should happen. It should not happen in marketing. It should happen in your on-ground work. So that's what my take is. And personally, I've never had a challenge in innovating in the category because there's a lot of you can play for. Like mutual funds started with mutual funds. The penetration has increased to a large level. That's good.
Yeah. And you have any take on this question?
So is this where we talk about innovation in the category, or we talk about
This is about
the
challenges within the.
So look, I've never worked for a BFSI. So I've always been on the other side, either on the advertising side or on the solution side when I was in broadcasting, or on the agency side. Spent some time. I mean, even as a customer, when I started investing in mutual funds, at that point of time, we didn't have online influencers to tell you when to invest. Pretty much had to make your own decisions or ask your friend who's investing before you. In my case, who's a guy called Krishna, who actually introduced me. Then the challenge was that when you started investing in funds in the market where penetration at that point of time was less than 1%, there was some 350 products. And I think the challenge, honestly, in the industry is to simplify. And I think the best example of one of the most effective campaigns in the last 1 decade is ad-free mutual funds again. Because I think for the first time, they took the category barriers head on in the most simplified way. And I know it's very difficult for companies to do because you have targets to meet and products to sell. So it's easy to say that they did a great job. But honestly, I think for a country like India, where we are so deeply under-penetrated on mutual funds, we're deeply under-penetrated on general insurance, on life insurance, I think there's a responsibility to stop thinking about innovation as doing dramatically different stuff, but to really simplify the category for the last mile and the audience who really needs it. Being an underinsured country which is growing so fast, puts a large part of your population at significant risk. You lose a large part of their money, whether they invest incorrectly in mutual funds or they invest in the wrong kind of insurance products because of the way the categories.
And I think also the fact that they have made this mutual funds are subjected to market risk sort of established in every Indian's head. I think that's also a key thing because what you said, it's cluttered with so many variations of products. So how does it differ in an insurance
So, I mean, insurance also, everyone kind of believes that it's fairly regulated. It's very controlled. But the truth is that, again, like mutual fund, it's a complicated product. So it's not about that we can't be innovative, but we need to be cautious and we should not mislead the best. Because if you do, you're going to get customer complaints in any case. Right? Having said that, yes, there are boundaries you can't cross from the creator asset. There are no boundaries when innovating with the medium, innovating with targeting, if I were to call it in a broader sense, right? Where you are placed, context, and so on and so forth. That's absolutely open for me.
Your take on this is BFSI challenging to innovate with?
My perspective, I feel we've honestly moved from genesis of, online banking to mobile payments. E-wallets have become a very eccentric part of our life. And I think we kudos to BFSI because they've really witnessed and embraced the maximum amount of innovation, I think, in the past decade, if I'm across. In fact, the adoption of these technologies has actually redefined the whole user experience, the whole customer engagement. And I think that's what the core is, where people have understood that innovation is, the evolution which this country probably needed. Like I just said in my first statement as well, I think that if there is a need, there is a rise of an opportunity, there is where the innovation scheme comes into play. And I think that's where talking from hybrid perspective, or talking from the publisher side, if I would throw some light, I think we understood that from a global perspective. We're a global ad space. We have presence across the globe, across various continents. We draw insights from these global places and we kind of adapt them to specific region, be it India, be it Thailand, Indonesia. And that's where I think more creation of something like bots, which is coming to picture, dealing with dynamic market stocks, having creators like hybrid triggers, that's actually coming. So I think it is a very regulated space. Trust me, when in my initial days, when I first hosted the Amphi campaign, I remember the checks that were going through, the kind of do's and don'ts that we had to follow, because it was a huge campaign for them that, आप 500 रुपए में भी mutual fund में invest कर सकते हो, because we come from the generation, like how Anu was saying, Krishna was the guy for it. For me, it was my father who primarily believed in fixed deposits and RDs and all of these, and I think that's where the paradigm should happen for us.
Thank you. So I think mutual funds have works and you guys can invest when it's subject to market risk is what we are trying to say. Yes, I think so summarizing what we have heard is there is enough and more room for us to innovate within the regulations and guidelines without misleading the customers. And that leads me to a second question to you, Ryan, as to what is an example of an innovative campaign, glass shattering campaign that has been done at AIG?
Shattering, glass shattering. I'll give you examples of what I meant when I was talking about pushing the envelope, meeting and having them. So, for instance, in our current campaign, with live a month back, it's about expect complete claims. We simply flip that say down. Why call it implications? Because you are expecting the thing that to be in a particular way, and it wasn't, and that was, and therefore the concept came alive. So that's what I meant when I said integrate with the medium. The concept itself comes alive, right? Last IPL we didn't take spots, but we did an integration with the third umpire review and the wicket fall, where there's a very simple message. You can post any content in the message, right? Minute there was a review. Do you want to review your prices? Then the ticket fell. Wish this was insured. Check it. Tata AG insures other losses. Right? So it was a very simple message. But that's the feedback that we got. That sometimes when you just take generic advertising, brand recall works. When you integrate in this fashion, the message was through as well.
Sonika, any such case studies for any category?
I think we recently concluded a campaign with UTI, and this one was a very interesting one. There is always, a glass ceiling or very preconceived notion that males or rather men drive, a mutual fund investment decision. They are the ones who probably do their predictive analysis or they get into the whole analytical space. Women predominantly, okay, this is the amount that I just want to put, and then it's rest left either to the financial advisor that you have hired or maybe to the man of the house. So UTI wanted to break that glass ceiling and they wanted to really target the women, the women's space or female categories. We did a very interesting campaign with them with, keeping walks and contextual targeting in mind. We gave them extremely specific keywords, which then eventually led to the success of campaign. We targeted women entrepreneurs, we targeted women CEOs, startups, women who are looking for, home loans, personal loans. For them, and we delivered a very fantastic campaign for them. Extremely happy with the kind of audience pool that we created for them. It was a very deterministic audience pool because the beauty of our product is that you literally cover the intent and the interest of the user. So you're half almost covered by capturing. So today, if you are on the open web, you think you have ways of how do I build a business plan or how do I go ahead and sketch a blueprint plan for a business. I know that the user is half there and the rest half will be communicated by the right kind of creative communication that comes from that.
Great, thank you so much. So I think hearing Ryan and Sonika, what I get is that decluttering is also important. It's not necessary that you're always at the clutter, and that's where innovation also lies. By breaking the clutter, you're also innovating your communications and your connect with the customer. And Sonika spoke about keywords, signals, insights in terms of what female investors might be doing online, right? So this brings us to a part where we struggle as a category as to finding the right audience because 600 plus million audience. How do you get the right qualified audience for your product and category? And this, as agency partners, must be a challenge that you guys keep hearing from clients, right? That we need to get more richer audience. We need to get the right audience. We need to get customers who are more eligible for our products. How do we solve for this?
So it depends on in what category you are in and what you're targeting. For example, you could be a very niche brand, so objective not to get scale, but to get higher customers. So if you're doing that, you will need to look at data solutions. So an example of something we did for a very niche brand is to look at their first party data, use AI to look at multiple parameters that we knew about that audience and segment and create lookalike audiences based on the average deposit that they kept in the bank. And then we use that data to retarget audiences in an external environment. And when you use first party data effectively, we were able to then get a much higher percentage of new account openings with a much higher average deposit in the bank. Right. So I think, but if you're a mass brand, let's say, for example, you're trying to grow the category, right? And for example, let's look at health insurance. So let me go back to another client of ours, Echo. And I think if you saw, everybody would have seen the Munna by MBBS campaign. I don't think there was any innovation. I think for a lot of time we talk about tech and data, but we forget about what is the ad we're finally placing in front of the customer. You may find the most perfect audience for your brand, but if the advertising sucks, you're not going to get them to do anything. And I think often in platforms like this, where we're discussing AI, tech, etc., we forget that the consumers like us, they're a human being. You need to talk to them through a relevant ad. So I think, in my mind, another great example is a campaign like that. Fantastic insight, and at a very simple level, again, addressing the category values. Done in a form which will use humor, which typically you would not necessarily see in BFSI advertising. So I think sometimes you also have to jump out of the fact that, yes, BFSI is a serious category, But you don't have to tell an adult male or an adult woman that she needs to care for her family, she needs to protect her family. They get it, they know it, they live it. Sometimes step back and maybe create something which is meaningful and has a lasting impact.
Do you have anything on this?
So I think what I want to say is sometimes we as marketers jump to conclusions before we start looking at our own people who are actually associated with us or who are actually our customers. So if we jump to conclusion that this should be my thing. I'll tell you one example in the category, outside the category as well, where one brand which we're working with was considered themselves as a premium brand, and they wanted people from town and people who are living in central cities to be their customers, or people who are living in high rises to be their customers. But we said that why do you want to jump to that conclusion? The cost of acquisition is skyrocketing for those people. Let's look at inside. Let's look at an inside-out approach where you look at your data and you at least. So we went back to this point. What we said, let's talk to your salespeople who are selling it on ground. They will give you that perspective. And when we saw that perspective, we saw that these people are not businessmen. These people are doctors. These people are lawyers. These people are actual small businessmen who are buying your clothes, who are buying your products. So that's one. And second is a lot of your answers come from your own data. And after that, if you want to put some behavioral or psychographic layering from a data enrichment point of view, that's something which you can do. But the starting point has to be your own data.
That's very, very refreshing to hear. It's not just media on the pitch, but it's also about spending time understanding your own audiences, understanding your own customer. And I think today in India, BFSI is sitting at the cusp of innovation, and it's actually leading the entire innovation front with UPI and open banking becoming reality very soon. So Ryan, this sort of brings me to you again as to how different is it when you are sort of advertising for a BFSI product versus any other category that you would advertise for? Does it make any difference because everybody needs a financial product, financial solution, and everybody will need something which is required for a daily.
So when you look at BFSI, there are a couple of things that stand out and make it unique. One is that the product is typically intangible, and the second is the frequency of purchase is very, very good. Right? And the two of them combined to give a very different kind of mix. So for starters, if you take a classic consumer goods product, marketing is there to attract. Not that the repeat happens because the product is good, right? And the only communication that happens with the product is best the package. Whereas with BFSI products, there is communication is almost like a layer, right? So you swipe your card and get a message, get a call if the amounts are high, perhaps, right? You transfer, you get a message, you get an OTP, whatever it is. So there's this continuous engagement and service as it is part of the product, right? And so there's this continuous engagement, continuous communication with the customer, which is very, very specific to a category like BFSI. Now, what that does is because customers are in that online a lot more, either researching or buying or doing some kind of a transaction, you tend to have a lot more performance spends in the BFSI, right? So if I would look at digital spends in general, performance spend would probably be like YouTube spends, in the example. Yeah. It will be exactly the reverse in FMC, right? And so you in BFSI you're always trying to find that customer there in the digital space because they're there somewhere, right? And that's a big part of how you engage them. And of course, like I said, it's part of the.
I just want to add one point. Actually, we think that BFSI is a very difficult category to market. FMCG is a much more difficult category to market. Because collection of data is so difficult. It's no measurement. Collection of data is so difficult that all your marketing, you don't know what's going on.
Amazing to everyone. So, Subir, also, this sort of reminds me of the point that you were making when we were discussing this offline as to how every credit card user might be an e-com user, but you're not really sure if they are eligible for XYZ brand. And we heard a lot of examples of innovations, like was creative across communication, and these communications were both offline and online. So should BFSI be looking at an offline marketing strategy, which is very different than an online marketing strategy? Should they look at a holistic approach, or how should they go about it? Should they just figure out data as the key, or should they look at consumers as the key?
See, at the end of the day, it's a consumer. But and I'll give you an interesting perspective. It's not offline and on. Actually, a lot of these BFSI companies are run by call centers. So it's assisted sale. And second is a lot of these BFSI companies are also run by agents. Those are two biggest channels actually if you see BFSI as a category. So if you see LIC, 90% of their sales come from their agent. So all this marketing is one एक तरफ, and all your agents bring much more business than. So at the end of the day, you have to look at from a maturity of the company in that particular category. So if you see insurance as a space, there will be some old insurance company who was not spending a single rupee on digital, but it's working for them. But Acco, because they are a new entrant or a digit or a new entrant, they have to position themselves differently so that they get a different set of customers. So they are online. So they are spending online. They are penetrated online. So that's how I see it.
I think there's firstly a misnomer that performance marketing is the only thing that creates and drives sales for any category. Not spending upper funnel. You have two customers as any marketer. One is the real customer, the other is your CFO. Right? So your CFO keeps asking you questions: why are you spending so much money? Why do we need to spend so much money? And I think one of the biggest gains of marketing in general, not just BFSI, is that unfortunately, the financial, because they are only interested in quarterly returns and keeping the shareholder happy. And I think that's where marketing overall as a function is coming under significant pressure, right? Because you are not thinking of the customer, thinking of your internal customer first. Now, why performance versus brand? The customer doesn't see an ad and say, "Acha, ye performance ad hai, let me click on it." Or ye to brand campaign hai, main to piche baith ke dekhna. Suppose average man on the street just sees advertising. I think once you start actually looking at advanced analytics and start decoding the impact of your entire marketing mix, you realize that the contribution of performance marketing versus brand digital or brand offline, the latter is much higher, right? So when a person clicks on a performance ad, it's not because they've seen the ad. They've probably seen a print ad. They've probably seen a digital video. They've probably seen an ad on television before that. Because you can't attribute last click attribution, everybody gives, says, "Oh, performance is working." And I think that attitude has to change. I think it's changing because the BFSI category in this country will not grow unless more brands invest in building the category. Right? A mutual fund sahi hai is once in a lifetime campaign. It's not going to happen for every single category like life insurance, like mutual funds, or like general insurance. And I know it's tough because eventually you're running a P&L. You have to be responsible to the board and the shareholder. But I think somewhere the category has to also lift itself out of this performance mindset and start thinking about building brands because brands endure. Right? And that's the truth in every category, anywhere in the world.
Great.
I think I'll just add to what Andy just said. In fact, Anand just said, in fact, we were having a very interesting conversation just on the same lines before this whole panel discussion started. I think we all are forgetting a very key matrix in, when it comes to branding or performance or anything. And what Andy really specified that, a consumer doesn't understand that if it's a performance campaign which is being served to me or a marketing or a marketing campaign or a branding campaign. I think it's the attention that you grab of the consumer, and that's the new matrix, which I think we all are trying to, we all as, I'm sure as marketers or as brand managers, we all are trying to gauge, because the attention span of humans is coming, or rather it's become so low, as close to 8%, 8 seconds, I'm sorry. So you only have those 6 to 8 seconds to idly impress a consumer and get yourself, clicked on the particular ad. So I think that's where the prominence lies. We could have, DAUs or MAUs, we could have sponsorship buys on TV, we could have audience segmentation, we could have deterministic audience, but I think the key area right now lies, or rather the new matrix which brands are trying to grab, is the attention span, the attention of a consumer.
I think that brings me to the final question, and this question is open for all of you. The whole debate of performance versus awareness, how do you think ad tech will solve that? And how can ad tech help the entire BFSI category? Because I think the Google and Meta of the worlds are spoiling us, because somehow giving that objective of get me leads works better than saying get me awareness and get me traffic, because somehow we get the traffic, get the leads when we actually give that high order objective to the campaigns, but giving that bottom funnel key signal to the tools of Google and Meta sort of brings us those performances, those leads. Right? So how do you think ad tech can solve for the challenges of BFSI?
I think AgTech again is a very, very vast, it's a macro economy that we've created in the whole space. And yes, we are very much guarded by walled gardens like Googles and Metas of the world, but I think it has a huge space. It's all about understanding what the opportunity lies. I feel generative AI, can add more of a value proposition, the size space. In today's time, we have come to that, drawing board where you think of something, you punch it, and you want immediate responses. Something what Brian also said, that it's the messaging that you keyboard on every time, there is a swipe happening, there is a message that comes to you. So I think generative AI is probably going to be the future when I talk about it in the ad tech space. Obviously, there's more that we could have. But I think from my side, keeping the kind of experience that I've been taking on board, I think that's what I this.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, you also have to keep in mind the landscape is evolving. Right? So for the last 10 to 15 years, we were after data in a quantity. If I would use that crudely, right? The next 10 years or so, I want to quality. So you see, like you mentioned, right, India Stack and we had in face, etc. It's all adding quality to the data. It's going to aid the Gen AI, it's going to aid the outcomes, it's going to aid personalization and so on and so forth. So you are looking at a segment, richer segment to target, right? Having said that, and because our data is out there, the public space, you're going to see privacy getting stronger and more important. What that means, of course, there'll be consent for all this data sharing and so on and so forth. But what that means is that first party data start getting more important. So MarTech, I don't know if you assume MarTech, it's subsumed in AdTech over there. But that's going to start getting a lot more important in the largest.
I just add on to what Jan said. In the larger scheme of things, AdTech can do this much. So, and MarTech will be lower. And what we also need to understand is that the consumer needs to be handled once it comes on your platform. So at each level, so the funnel, the smaller the funnel gets, or the smaller the funnel, it's more important from the customer's point of view as well, and how we can handhold it. So just giving an example to somebody, that people these days are not that patient. She also said that people have only 8% as their attention span. And even if you're generating a lead or if you're getting a person on the website, they don't have that much time. You don't have that much time with the customer. People are getting food delivery in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You can't call them after half an hour or 1 hour. That's just killing the lead. So I feel the more work which has to be done, was evolved. I think will evolve with generative AI and probably ChatGPT giving you more suggestions on what kind of targeting you should do and what kind of different work different audiences you should go after. But yeah, the first party data, the people who are coming to your website, you need to take them to the process. No doubt that I think with all like-minded people in right-handed party. I'm sure that's going to happen at some point of time, and you'll be able to target them extremely granularly. But I will still go back. The first point is, what are you saying to them? And how are you saying it? I think there's so much of conversation about technology, and there's no conversation about creativity. And to my mind, that's what's honestly killing marketing. So I have a lot of hope for Gen Z. I'll give you a quick example, the alco web category. So imagine alco web category is a dark marketing. You cannot market in surrogates, and potentially after this election, all advertising may be completely banned. So obviously all alco web companies are chasing first party data because that is the last bastion of marketing. The question is, even if you have the data, what do? You cannot send them advertising related to your product. So really interesting context, right? For example, you can create an AI bartender as a bot. If you know there are a million whiskey drinkers in your portfolio, 500,000 rum drinkers in your portfolio, and you know what kind of whiskey and rum they drink, you can actually send them customized videos where the bartender, an AI bartender, will talk to them one-on-one and create every weekend different mixes for them. So it's Friday, your personal bartender comes and says, "Hey Anand, the weekend's coming up. I drink gin. So here's a new gin cocktail that you can try this weekend." Now, I think that's fantastic because it taps into the inside weekends. You're going to be let loose, drink. You have a personal bartender talking to you, so it's much more personal. It's interesting. It's exciting. So I think Gen AI is super exciting. Very early days, but I think that is going to be hopefully unleash more creativity, and I think that's what's missing in most categories. I mean, not just games.
Thank you, Anand. So,
Conversation positive. Okay.
I think, thank you so much, all of you. It's been fantastic discussing all of these pointers with all of you. There's enough hope and space for us to innovate within Bfsi. There is enough data. There is enough room for creativity, and yes, AI is going to lead us the way, but we will have to show the way to AI. And that's where we would like to end this panel. And thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, esteemed panelists. Just we request you to be on the stage. I request Sonika from Hybrid to kindly felicitate the panelists with the token of gratitude. Thank you so much. It was good to learn about simplicity is innovation. Simplicity is automation. Learning about the psychology of customers and about how backers work in the right. All about the data platform. Apparently, I came to that. Maybe not just the data for the well. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective. Proceed ahead with the next topic for the next discussion. Sun. So we'll quickly proceed there. We can quickly proceed ahead to the next discussion, which is on artificial intelligence advertising. And folks, I think we've observed an inflection point has been the adoption of Gen AI tools. So with that context, I would like to invite the moderator for this particular session. We put hands together for Fully Victo, experience in partnerships from AdBelly. Let's give a round of applause. Thanks, Stevie. Our first panelist along we'll have got Konnect who are experiencing private media clients. Welcome, Anurag. We also have Ashutosh Nagari, VP, Head of Performance Marketing at Interactive. Thank you, Ashutosh, for joining me. Also, we have our very own Aniket Pawar, Action Sales and Hybrid News Journals. Thanks to everyone for joining us over here. We'll keep the session clean. See that. Sunil, over to you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Sankalp, for handing this over. Well, AI, ML, these are buzzwords right now. We cannot have any conversation without these words being used. As part of our daily conversation, as part of our hourly conversation, in fact, I think everything we talk about zeroes in to application of AI and how AI is used effectively. And this session is no different. I mean, here we are in this world of rapidly changing world where AI is kind of taking on the world. So it's indeed my privilege to be here and to be moderating this session with two elite agencies being part of this conversation. We've got Maninder from Vibrant and Ashutosh from IA. And Aniket here representing the AdTech, looking at getting a lot of answers out here at this session. First and foremost, I'd like to throw this conversation out to the agencies. Maninder, your perspective, followed by Ashutosh. In terms of with AI dominating the conversations across the board, how many briefs and how much strategy that you guys get up in terms of advertising really comes with a brief for AI? Has AI started to become part of those briefs? How much AI is part of those strategies?
Good evening, everyone. I hope all of you. So, I guess more than getting AI in brief, I guess it's already there, right? We don't have to think about it, and we have to compare right now with. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to that. And coming to this era where we don't have to think about the bits, right? We just have to take care of the bit strategy. Talking about the middle media, but overall, I guess whenever there is a brief, talking from a business angle and media angle both, we know that what kind of campaigns and what kind of platforms and tools are going to work for this, right? And instead of spending a lot of time on thinking that what kind of audience should be targeted and what kind of placement should be there, what kind of messaging should be there. Now, I guess there is a lot of reliability on some kind of tools, which is, I guess, very much needed these days because the kind of accuracy we see, the kind of results which we see from these kind of tools is very fantastic. If you compare it with a general manually created campaign, then the overall performance has been fantastic so far. So overall, I would say it's more of understanding the latest tools coming in the market, right? And how these tools are helping us out in getting our or achieving our objectives altogether. So yes, definitely AI has been a part of our daily life these days, whether it's a biddable network or non-biddable media, right? Overall.